What's going on, everybody? Hope you had a good weekend. It's Sunday late afternoon. Got some football on, Raiders and Vikings. And the stupid Vikings are winning by 6 points. So I need the Vikings to lose because I'm a Packers fan and their record right now is better than the Packers. Not that you people care, but I'm just saying because I'm talking about it. So that's why I'm talking about it. Because I got the game on right in front of me. So I need the Vikings to fucking lose. So they'll be tied with the Packers. So they can be 6-3 and be tied with my Packers. And so my Packers will face them, I think, next week. Late afternoon game. 3:25 start. So my Packers hopefully can get some kind of offense going where they can score more than 20 points, hopefully, and my Packers can defeat the Vikings. And I believe that game is in Minnesota. Anyways, you're not watching this video to hear me talk about my Packers and the Vikings. Anyways, the Raiders are losing 14-20 in the second quarter where it's almost halftime. This video you're watching and checking out is my top 20 Survivor Series favorite matches. Survivor Series, I believe, is next Sunday night on the WWE Network. I will be watching and live tweeting it at TNA WWE Guy. That's me on Twitter. So these are my top 20 Survivor Series favorite matches. I thought I'd do this list for everybody that subscribes to my channel. I thought I'd do this because Survivor Series is 1 week away, so why not do a top 20 Survivor Series list of my favorite matches. And some of these matches are not the best, but they're some of my favorite Survivor Series matches from the history of the Survivor Series pay-per-view event. They're not all going to be elimination matches, that's for sure, because these are just a list of my favorite matches in Survivor Series history. Some are elimination matches, some are singles matches. Number 20. The first match is number 20 on my list. It is the first ever Survivor Series elimination tag team match that kicked off the Survivor Series 87 pay-per-view. It was captained by Team Macho Man. I believe Macho Man was the team captain because he just went babyface, I believe, and joined Hulk Hogan on Saturday Night's Main Event, and they did this. They did the Mega Powers handshake before Survivor Series on Saturday Night's Main Event. So Macho Man was a new babyface. He was just turned babyface. And he was against team captain of the Honky Tonk Man and his team. And on Macho Man's team, it was Macho Man, Jim Duggan, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Jake the Snake Roberts, and I believe that's it. Maybe I'm missing somebody. Macho Man, Jim Duggan, Jake Roberts, Ricky Steamboat, and I think that was the entire team. I don't really remember. Anyways, they went against Honky Tonk Man's team, who was Harley Race, Honky Tonk Man, Dangerous, Danny Davis, the crooked referee that was banned for life for refereeing. And I believe Outlaw Ron Bass was a part of the team also. And I think I'm leaving out someone else, but who cares. Anyways, number 20 is the first ever Survivor Series match at Survivor Series 87. Number 19 is from Survivor Series 1992, Bret the Hitman Hart, who just won the WWF Championship in October of 92. So he was champion for a month. Bret Hart taking on newly won Intercontinental Champion, newly crowned Intercontinental Champion, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels from SummerSlam 92, not SummerSlam, Survivor Series 92. got SummerSlam and Survivor Series mixed up because both of the names have S's in it. So sorry about that. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Survivor Series 92 is number 19 on my list. Number 18 is from Survivor Series 96, Psycho Sid versus Shawn Michaels, where Psycho Sid becomes champion. That was a great moment. I was happy, and I marked out when Sid won the title because I was happy for him. I always liked Sid. Wasn't the biggest fan of Sid, but I was a fan of his back then. Number 17 on my list is from Survivor Series 94, which was not a very good pay-per-view, except for the casket match in this match for the WWF Championship. It was in, not Iron Man match, submission. I believe it was a submission match, or I Quit match, or something like that, where either Owen Hart, or you had to throw the other opponent's towel in to get them to quit, or something like that. And Owen Hart, Davey Boy Smith was holding the towel for Bret Hart, and then Owen Hart got knocked out. Not Owen Hart, Davey Boy got knocked out cold, running into the stairs or something, chasing Owen Hart, and Owen got the Bret's towel. Then he's holding Bret's towel, begging his mom. Bret Hart's mom and dad were front row at ringside, was begging his mom to throw the towel in for Bret, that Bret was suffering, and Owen Hart started crying and saying, "Please, Mom, please throw it in." And he was basically playing his mom because he was a heel. So he was just trying to talk her into throwing the towel in for Bret, so Bret would lose the title. And then Bret's mom actually, or Bret's dad, took the towel away from Owen, I think, and then Bret's mom snatched the towel from her husband, Stu Hart, and then Bret's mom throws the towel in the ring, and Bret loses the title to Bob Backlund. Great moment, and very entertaining. So that's number 17 on my list, where Bob Backlund became champion for a very short time. Then he would lose it to Diesel in 9 seconds in December at Madison Square Garden. Number 16 is from Survivor Series 2000, Triple H versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. I enjoyed the match. It was basically a street fight and a brawl. I really enjoyed it. Number 15 is from Survivor Series 87 again. And it's the Giant 10 tag team elimination match. You had 10 tag teams. I believe it was 10 teams, I think, on each side. So 20 men altogether, 10 men on each side. Not 10 teams, 10 men on each side. So 20 guys in it altogether. So if you had to have 10 men, you had 2, 4, 6, 8, I believe 5 or 6 tag teams were on each side. It was a great match, entertaining as hell, went really long, went like 38 minutes or longer. I really enjoyed it because I'm a big fan of, and I was a big fan of tag team wrestling in the late 80s. So that's my number 15 is the whatever it was, the tag team elimination match where they had all the tag teams, Demolition, the Dream Team on one side, the Bolsheviks all together against other teams on the other side. The baby faces had Strike Force, the Young Stallions, the British Bulldogs, and on the heels, as I said, Demolition, Dream Team, Bolsheviks, Hart Foundation, and I think in maybe the Rougeau brothers were the heels also on the team. I don't know if they were heels or baby faces at the time, but whatever. Number 14 is from Survivor Series 1988. Again, it's the Giant tag team elimination match where they had all the teams around the ring. Demolition was baby faces this time because it was late 88. No, who the hell? Demolition, I believe, were still heels at the time, but Mr. Fuji actually turned on them in this match and went with the Powers of Pain. So then the Powers of Pain went into the match as baby faces, and they basically left the match as heels because they joined Mr. Fuji. And Mr. Fuji turned on Demolition and hit him in the back. I believe hit Axe in the back with his cane. Number 13 on my list of top 20 Survivor Series matches. Number 13 is from Survivor Series 91. Ric Flair's WWF debut. He was in a Survivor Series elimination match. It was great to see the Nature Boy in the WWF. I was excited to see him there. He took on a team that had Davey Boy Smith, Bret Hart, Rowdy Piper, Virgil, and somebody else I can't remember. So, Ric Flair's debut is my number 13 at Survivor Series 91. Number 12 is from Survivor Series 2003, The Undertaker against Mr. McMahon, where Vince got busted open really bad and bled buckets. That's why it's on my list. Number 11 on my list is from Survivor Series 1999, where the Big Show becomes WWF Champion and wins the main event triple threat match with The Rock and Triple H. Stone Cold was supposed to be in it, but he was replaced because he was out with a neck injury, and he would be out for an entire year, almost. So the Big Show took Stone Cold's spot and basically took advantage of that and won the title. Number 10 on my list is from Survivor Series 2007, The Undertaker against Batista in the Hell in a Cell match at Survivor Series. I believe it was the only Hell in a Cell match in Survivor Series history. My number 9 is from Survivor Series 2001, and it was the main event. It was the Alliance against Team WWF. The Alliance was Team WCW and ECW. We already know that. Against Team WWF. I enjoyed that match, and it went a pretty long time, and it was pretty damn good. So that's my number 9. The Survivor Series 2001 main event. The Team WWF versus Team Alliance winner takes all match. Number 8 is from Survivor Series 91. The Undertaker taking on Hulk Hogan. And The Undertaker would defeat Hulk Hogan, the Immortal One, and win his first ever WWF Championship. My number 7 is Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, taking on Triple H at Survivor Series 2005. I believe it was a last man standing match. It was great. It was bloody. I enjoyed it a lot. Even though Ric Flair was not in his prime at all. But he could still go. And he could still brawl with people. And basically outwork probably half the roster. Or most of the roster. My number 6 is Survivor Series 2002, the first ever Elimination Chamber match where HBK made history and won the World Heavyweight Championship. That's why it's on my list. I'm a huge Shawn Michaels mark, and I was a big fan of his when he was wrestling. He's one of my all-time favorites in my top 10 list. Anyways, number 5 on my list is from Survivor Series 97. The main event, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, a Montreal Screwjob. It was a part of wrestling history, so that's why it's on my list. That's why it's my number 5. The Montreal Screwjob match, even though it was a garbage of a match, and not much of a match at all. My number 4 is from Survivor Series 98, the finals of the championship tournament, Mankind taking on The Rock, where The Rock went into this match as a babyface, and Mankind was supposed to be the corporate champion, but Vince and Shane and the corporation screwed Mankind, and they got their corporate champion in The Rock. And The Rock won his first WWF championship at the Survivor Series, and he was Survivor Series 98 was his second year in the WWF, second year in pro wrestling. So being only 2 years in the WWF, pretty damn impressive that The Rock won the title, being in the business for only 2 years. Number 3 is this shouldn't have been as high on my list, but I ran out of Survivor Series matches really to pick from that I could think of to put on my list, so this is my number 3. Survivor Series 1993. It was the Hart brothers against Shawn Michaels and his 3 knights. One of the knights was Kane under a mask. And I believe one of the other knights was someone else, but I can't remember who. Anyways, there's Shawn Michaels on one team with 3 knights, and they all were masked men against the Hart brothers, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Bruce Hart, and I think, not Keith, Bruce Hart and whatever the other Hart brothers' name was, Keith Hart maybe. This was pretty good because Owen Hart started showing signs of turning heel on his brother Bret and turning heel on the family because he got frustrated. He got eliminated really quick. I believe he was the only Hart brother eliminated. So Owen Hart gets eliminated by Shawn Michaels. After Shawn Michaels Irish whips Owen into the ropes and knocks Bret off the apron, Bret falls into the guardrail, crashes into the guardrail, and then Owen looks at Bret, and then Owen Hart gets rolled up in a schoolboy by Shawn Michaels. 1, 2, 3, Owen Hart is gone. So that's why it's on my list, because it was pretty cool to see Owen Hart come back to the ring to celebrate with his brothers after the match. And then Owen, my throat's dry as hell. Owen started showing signs of being a heel. He came back in the ring, pulled Bret off the second rope, pushed him like he was going to attack him right there, but he didn't attack him yet. He waited till Royal Rumble 94 to do that. And that was also another great moment in the career of Owen Hart, and that really pushed Owen Hart. Him turning on Bret really helped his career. My number 2 match for my top 20 Survivor Series favorite matches, my number 2 is Survivor Series 2004. Team Team Bischoff versus Team Stone Cold Steve Austin. If Stone Cold's team lost, I believe he had to leave the WWF. Team Bischoff wins when Randy Orton survives against Shawn Michaels, I believe. I think Randy Orton was alone going one-on-one with Shawn Michaels. I don't think either of them had any team members left to tag in, so Shawn Michaels bled really bad in this match. He bled a lot, showed a lot of heart, showed a lot of passion, tried to fight back, tried to win for Stone Cold, and I believe Stone Cold was at ringside cheering on Shawn Michaels, but Shawn Michaels could not do it. Randy Orton survives, and Team Bischoff wins. That was Survivor Series 2004 is my number 2. Team Bischoff versus Team Stone Cold. My number 1 is Survivor Series 87, the main event of Survivor Series 87. Team Hogan against Team Andre the Giant. Team Hogan had Bam Bam Bigelow, Don Morocco, and Ken Patera, and Paul Orndorff. When Paul Orndorff was still a babyface, and then after this he would turn on I think he would turn, Paul Orndorff went back to being a babyface. And earlier in 87, late 86, Paul Orndorff turned on Hogan, and they did a little short program and had a cage match on Saturday Night's Main Event in January or March of 87. I believe it was January. So Paul Orndorff was back to being a babyface for some reason. I believe he fired Bobby Heenan as his manager. He fired him and humiliated him and whatever. So Hogan, it was basically Hogan versus Andre again, because this was the next pay-per-view after WrestleMania 3 and their giant showdown at WrestleMania 3. Andre the Giant survives. He becomes a sole survivor and wins the match for his team when he would defeat and pin Bam Bam Bigelow. And Bam Bam at the end showed great heart, great passion, great fighting spirit. Bam Bam Bigelow almost pulled a victory out and defeated Andre the Giant, but it could not happen. And it shouldn't have happened, because Andre, even though he was he should have retired after WrestleMania 3. He should have retired because he had really bad back issues. Andre did not retire. So, but still, Andre was a legend, and he was a giant. So, he should have went over Bam Bam, in my opinion. And Andre was the right decision as being a sole survivor. So, Survivor Series 87, in their main event of that show, is my #1 favorite Survivor Series match. Hope you enjoyed my top 20 Survivor Series favorite matches. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at TNAWWE Guy. Bye for now, everybody. See you on Twitter for Monday Night Raw. I'll be live tweeting Monday Night Raw at TNAWWE Guy. Bye for now, everybody.